Hey guys, Rob here with McDojoLife, and today we're going to be breaking down the most escapable arm lock I've ever seen, and then we're going to be adding some context behind it afterwards. So let's watch it, and then let's break it down. Now, I showed it twice, which I usually don't do, simply because it's a very short clip, and I wanted to make sure you guys saw it right off the bat if you don't feel like rewinding. But I'm going to play it over and over and over again as we do the breakdown real fast, and then I'm going to add some context as to how we post what we post here on McDojoLife. So let's check it out. Breakdown style. So as you can see, he ended up in an arm or a wrist lock right off the bat. It must have been from a takedown from what I can tell. And then he used the wrist lock to kind of control the positioning. Really what you would want to do is you'd either want to control the position with like a knee on belly, maybe a side control, maybe head and arm position. There's a lot of north-south. There's a lot of top controlling positions that you could do. I'm sure I left out plenty. But just standing there usually isn't one of them, because holding onto the person's wrist, especially once he starts letting go of the wrist lock, isn't going to stop the person from moving or escaping or trying to attack you. The next big issue that we have here, of course, is he crosses the arms and grabs them. Once you cross that arm, though, the other arm is completely free, so he can just pull his free arm out at any time because it's not locked. Now, let's say hypothetically his arm was locked. Relieving the pressure wouldn't even really require any training, and your body would naturally just want to go away from the pain, which would mean he would just turn onto his side closest to his opponent or his assailant or his partner here, who's trying to arm lock him in some position here. The actual arm lock, the concept here would be sound. The only problem is they're not teaching just the concept of leverage with the elbow. What they are, they're just practicing. You can see the guy sweating behind him. You can see he's a yellow belt and that's a blue belt. So they're obviously not teaching this to anybody. They're practicing this. And so it's obviously not taking in that context as showing leverage. What it is doing is showing a technique that these guys are quite obviously practicing, which isn't going to work, and it's going to get them probably hurt if they really think that's going to work. Person's probably going to escape. It's going to be really easy. And if they know any jiu-jitsu, they know how to ebby or shrimp their hips out or hip escape, all the same crap. They're going to get free of this with no problem. It's a very low, extremely low percentage thing to try to teach for self-defense. There's way better things that you can teach than this, and I feel bad for the students. Now, on that note, whenever I post this kind of stuff up, I get at least one or two people from those studios who always complain, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. If you're complaining about anything outside of the clips that I show, then what you're doing is you're justifying bullshit. Let's talk about just the clips that I'm showing. Let's talk about just this moment. I'm of the belief that if you film somebody for long enough, you're going to see them do something ridiculous or stupid eventually, right? So it's okay that we have this stuff out there. I'm not making fun of the people themselves usually, especially now because these guys are just students. And I feel that these students don't know any better because they trust their instructor. The instructor is taking advantage of those students by showing them things that just won't work. And especially if you're not doing live sparring or drilling, you're never going to really find out until it might be too late that it doesn't work. So whenever you're watching these videos, pay attention to the videos. Pay attention to these clips. Stop trying to go and defend these people, because I don't care who these people are personally. I'm not attacking them personally. And there are plenty of people out there who have done great things for other people, but still teach ridiculous garbage in terms of self-defense. You can be a good person and have great intent or intention, and then all of a sudden you teach this hot garbage for 1 second of your life. That doesn't make you a terrible person. It just means we need to study this so new students can look at that as a red flag and go, oh, well, this isn't going to work. If you're not questioning your instructor from time to time, if you think something's wrong, then you're kind of aiding into that kind of garbage. And that happens a lot with some arts. The guy gets a little older, people start pandering to them, and then you get to the no-touch knockout kind of stuff. So with that final thought in mind, just remember, in order for a cult to exist, you have to have a cult following. So if you never question at all, and I'm not saying you need to be a dick and question everything they do. If you trust them, you trust them. If you don't, you don't. But whenever something questionable comes up, you should speak to your instructor about it. And if you don't feel comfortable about that, then there's a major problem with the studio. With that said, thank you all for likes, comments, shares, subscriptions, and all other crap YouTube people tell you to do. Keep the martial arts legit.